Hi guys. In this video, I would like to talk to you about Atlantis, all right? And the question I want to deal with is, did it ever actually exist, all right? And right away, I'm just gonna give you the answer no, right? It's kind of unfortunate, and I know it's a big part of our culture. Like there are these Disney cartoons and like books, sort of a whole bunch of fiction and sort of occult writers such as Blavatsky, Rudolf Steiner, Nicholas Roerich. They talk about Atlantis. So how can I sort of say that it never existed? Well, and by the way, if you just choose to believe something like as a sort of religious faith, I mean that's totally your choice and I respect it. But I approach this question as a historian, okay, and sort of as a historian, you cannot conclude that there is evidence to belief in this civilization. All right. So, what are our sources for this story? Okay, for Atlantis, and there is just one source. Okay, it's just one, and it's literally just a couple of pages. Okay, and that source is Plato. Okay, so Plato mentions this whole story that you know about. Sort of this incredible, advanced island, somewhere beyond the Straits of Gibraltar, which were known as the Pillars of Hercules in ancient times. So essentially, somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean, there was this like big landmass, with the capital city of Atlantis, and the whole story goes that it was corrupt, essentially. It was corrupt. There were all kinds of evil deeds taking place, and just one day the whole place just sunk under the ocean, and it's kind of a tale for us. So it's essentially just a few lines in Plato, okay, and Plato was a very moralistic, you can say, philosopher. Like there is a lot of sort of, moralizing. Like that's how you should live your life. That's how you should not live your life. Uh, excuse me. And just based on that, you cannot, you know, conclude that Atlantis existed. Right. Also, Plato was not a historian primarily. He had a lot of sort of supernatural, mythological. Damn, excuse me. And essentially, this story of Atlantis, the way Plato wrote about it, it was not meant to be sort of, a historical, record. And, Plato himself says that he went to Egypt and, somebody told him that somebody told him that, somebody told someone else about this sort of story of Atlantis. I mean, that in itself, uh, you know, makes you question the whole thing. I mean, if he, it's not even like some sources he was working with, but it was just a verbal account of someone who said it to someone else, who said it to someone else, and you know. So the story of Atlantis is meant to be, just an allegory for, a political philosophy. Like essentially, Plato, thought that, uh, sort of Atlantis that he was talking about is not how you should, uh, you know, live your life in a political system, in your city state. And if you do, well, that's what's going to happen to you. You will essentially, the weight of your sins will bring on natural disasters. And that's really all there is to it. And if you are into New Age, like Blavatsky and stuff like that, well, these are, speculations, but I'm just talking about actual, sources, okay, like actual evidence. And as far as evidence, we don't have enough of it to conclude that Atlantis ever existed, all right?